In the dark halls of Class 5, the game of survival intensifies. Episode 2 of Pyramid Game starts with a look into Ha-Rin's picture-perfect life where she is the queen bee of the class and good at everything she does. Wu-Yi admires Ha-Rin and aspires to be like her. Ha-Rin, Dua, and Da-Yian are also close with the school principal. One day, Ha-Rin is bullying Ya-Eun in the school backyard when one of the students sees her. Ha-Rin goes after the girl and the episode cuts to the present day where Ha-Rin enters the class as Soo-ji is being bullied by Da-Yian and her group. Ha-Rin helps Soo-ji up and asks Da-Yian to stop as she is taking it too far. And we see the girl who saw her bully Ya-Eun. I half expected the girl to go missing. Knowing Ha-Rin as the actual ringleader puts this interaction into new light. At first it might have looked like a concerned classmate. But now it looks like an order disguised as a request. Soo-ji is confused by Ha-Rin's behavior but decides to keep her suspicions about Ha-Rin a secret. She thanks Ha-Rin for helping her and leaves the classroom. Over the next few days, Soo-ji tries to observe Ha-Rin and tries to determine her motive behind creating the game. Soo-ji is adamant about bringing the mastermind behind the game down. For a moment Soo-ji contemplates sucking up to Ha-Rin, but decides against it. I believe it's because she won't be comfortable living as someone's puppet. A flashback from Ya-Eun's conversation with Ha-Rin in the trustee's cabin shows Ya-Eun asking Ha-Rin to quit picking on Soo-ji. Ha-Rin presses the burning cigarette on Ya-Eun's wrist, wondering why she was being nice to the new girl. Now I won't pretend I know why Ha-Rin cares about who Ya-Eun is befriending. Meanwhile, Class 5's homeroom teacher Mr. Lim reads Soo-ji's background information from her previous school and learns that Soo-ji struggled with being independent and relied on her classmates. Mr. Lim here seems like a concerned teacher, who is just worried about the new student. But I have watched enough survival games to know most people are evil, or at least have their own agenda. Mr. Lim is called in for a staff meeting with the principal of the school and other Year 2 homeroom teachers. One of the teachers talks to the principal about a bullying incident in her class. The principal, Lim Sun-ae, tries to brush off the matter and asks the teachers not to make a mountain out of a molehill. Mr. Lim offers some advice and asks the teacher to talk to the victim but the principal dismisses his statement and asks the teachers to refrain from making any assumptions. The principal tries to cover up the bullying by suggesting the kids are just playing. Since we know the principal is close to Ha-Rin, it makes sense why she dismisses the story of bullying. I think she is protecting Ha-Rin. The episode moves to Soo-ji being suffocated in class with a garbage bag on her head while Wu-Yi plays the sound of dogs barking to threaten her. Dua announces that recess is over and the girls get back in their places. Soo-ji starts wondering how the bullies had planned out the bullying to take place in the 10 minutes of recess between each lecture as well as the 60 minutes of lunch break. The bullying can't take place in middle of class. That is why the bullying only happens at recess and at lunch. She also concludes that the teachers tend to turn a blind eye towards the bullying and they may be aware of what's happening in Class 5. Soo-ji meets Mr. Lim and asks why the floor that Class 5 was set in does not have CCTV cameras when another teacher points out that since it is the only class on the floor, CCTV isn't needed. She also adds that since Dua is the class representative and is agile and alert, the floor did not need any security cameras. Furthermore, Dua's father is the director of Seosum Hospital, hence she's vigilant just like her dad. Dua shows up at the staff room and takes Soo-ji with her. It is likely the cameras were taken down so the bullying could take place. The bullies won't be worried about being caught on camera. On their way out, Dua warns Soo-ji about getting Mr. Lim to back her up. Soo-ji tries to look up information about Seosum Hospital and finds a connection between Dua, Ha-Rin and the other popular girls in the class. She learns that all the bullies including Dua, Ha-Rin and Yi-Rim are all part of a sports team. One day, Da-Yian goes inside Class 5 and asks one of the rank B students to meet her in private, clearly indicating that she is going to bully her. Soo-ji meets Ha-Rin in private and asks her who the creator of the game could be and what was their motive behind making such a game. Ha-Rin implies that the creator would enjoy seeing the look in the eyes of students who were ranked with F ranks and would enjoy seeing them shudder with horror. At first I thought only those in rank F could be bullied, but it looks like that rank D students is being bullied. Ha-Rin comes across as evil here. I'm certain she created the game, but I don't how yet. I'm going to talk more about her in the conclusion. Suji claims that the creator must be a psychopath and asks Ha-rin why a new transfer student like her got a low rank when Ya-eun was the class's victim already. Ha-rin tells Suji that what was happening to her was not her fault and leaves. Suji goes back to class thinking how creepy Ha-rin is, but she is stopped by a classmate named Ga. Ga scolds Suji for being missing during break, which led to Da-yeon picking on her friend, Sung-yi. Suji fights back and scolds the girl for not being safe as it wasn't her responsibility to protect the other girls. Suji tries to calm herself down and tries to find a way to get more people to vote for her so she can get out of this mess. She meets Ya-eun and starts putting an act up of crying in front of her. Suji faking crying shows her desperation. She couldn't get through to Ya-eun with reason, so she decided to get through her emotionally. This is why Suji is one of my favorite protagonists in the survival games genre. Most protagonists in this genre only see the best in people, and they always get hurt. Suji knows Ya-eun is the only person who can help her. Most of the class is not talking to her. Ya-eun refuses to participate in the game, but Suji notices the bandage on her hand. She wonders if Ya-eun smokes as she smells of cigarettes all the time. Suji asks why Ya-eun has self-harm marks on her wrist and wonders what is going on with her. Ya-eun ignores Suji's questions and asks her to talk to Sung-yi and Ga as they are the nicest girls in class. From the previous episode we know that Ya-eun has contemplated suicide. The following day, Suji and Ya-eun try to talk to Sung-yi and Ga. Ya-eun finds the girls' behavior odd, and tells Suji they are trying to dissociate with rank F students to avoid being bullied by Da-yeon. Suji tells Ya-eun that none of the students in the class would want them to get out of rank F because it would only make them the next target of the bullies. So basically, since there is a rank F, the rest of the class can feel safe. But if there was nobody in rank F, the whole class would be in danger of being bullied. In that scenario, most of the class would be in trouble. So putting someone in rank F protects most of the class. Messed up but true. She asks Ya-eun to look out for herself, but Ya-eun remembers something and leaves. Suji meets Eun Byul in private and learns that the girls from Year 1 Class 5 have all moved to Year 2 Class 5, with Ya-eun and herself being the only new students in the class. Suji starts doubting Eun Byul and thinks about how she will be left alone if Eun Byul and Ya-eun become friends again. Here I also get Suji's thinking, if Eun Byul and Ya-eun reconcile, it would leave Suji alone. The fact the whole class moved from Year 1 to Year 2 together means the game was easier to create, and that is why most are not protesting against the game. Suji gets a text from her father, asking for a document. She goes to the Seoul military base to hand it over to him. Her father tells Suji that she does not need to be worried about another transfer as she will be able to graduate from the same school. Suji thinks to herself how she would rather have transferred this time but does not tell her father anything. The first time her father stays in one place is the same time where she would rather leave than stay. Leaving would be easier, let the game be someone else's problem. Following this, Ya-eun skips school for the next few days, with Suji being the only rank F student in class. Yi-rim looks at Suji, feeling bad for her when her desk mate, Sim Eun-jung, asks if she wants to help Suji out. Meanwhile, Ha-rin is in class when Ya-eun recalls her conversation with Ha-rin from a few days back. After Ha-rin overhears Ya-eun and Suji talking, she threatens Ya-eun of trying to make new friends in school. Back to the present day, the girls from the entire school are gathered together in the school auditorium for a prayer service. Ha-rin is the main performer of the service and performs a soulful ballet dance. Suji is distracted, thinking about the upcoming voting, and accidentally drops her phone on the ground, making a loud noise. The performance is stopped, which leaves Suji as Da-yeon's main target. Da-yeon finds Suji in the library and threatens to shoot her with a huge gun. Woohee asks Suji to play fetch and turn into a dog, but Suji realizes that Da-yeon would not go to the extent of killing her. Instead of doing as the bullies say, Suji looks straight at the barrel without flinching and stares as Da-yeon fires a shot which turns out to be a blank. I think this was some smart thinking from Suji. She knew the bullies wouldn't kill her. Hiding a murder would be harder than covering up the bullying. The main reason the bullies attacked here was because Suji disrupted Ha-rin's performance. Suji leaves the room and tries to look for help but runs into Yi-rim on her way out. Yi-rim tells Suji that Ha-rin's mother, Choi Yi-hwa, was the school's chairwoman, which meant Ha-rin's family essentially ran the school. That night, Ha-rin and her father, Mr. Baek-yeon-jun, are having dinner with Da-yeon and Dua as well as their respective fathers. I believe Yi-rim feels bad for Soo-ji. She might help Soo-ji in the future. And her information on Ha-rin's family explains why the game is still going on. The three fathers, being business partners, get together once a month and have dinner with their three daughters. The atmosphere during the dinner is sinister, with Da-yeon's father being standoffish while Dua avoids speaking much. Ha-rin asks Mr. Baek to provide more scholarships for poor students. She says something to him in secret that knocks the air out of Mr. Baek's face eventually, leading to him agreeing to fulfill Ha-rin's demands. At the same time, Soo-ji is at the same convenience store where Jo Sung-hwa, the store employee, gives her a rice cake to eat without charging a fee. Meanwhile, Ya-eun writes a letter to the school, requesting to drop out. The next day, Soo-ji meets Mr. Lim, who seems trustworthy to her. When she is about to talk to him about the bullying, Dua shows up and asks Mr. Lim to meet the principal. Later that day, Mr. Lim decides to visit Ya-eun to check up on her, and Soo-ji hopes to follow him. However, Dua shows up yet again and stops her. She takes Soo-ji inside the school and warns her about leaking information about the game to any of the teachers. The next few days go by with the students from class bullying Soo-ji to the point that she gets sick. She tries to spend some time in the infirmary, but the nurse asks her to attend class. During a PE class, the group of teachers including Mr. Lim notice the girls of class 5 touching Soo-ji inappropriately on the school playground. Mr. Lim approaches Soo-ji and asks if everything is okay. Woo-yi butts in and tells the teacher that the girls were just joking around. Soo-ji asked Mr. Lim to drop her to the infirmary as she was ill. Dua offers to accompany Soo-ji, but Mr. Lim asks her to attend the PE class. He takes Soo-ji to the break room and discusses the incident with her. Seeing how empathetic Mr. Lim is, Soo-ji confesses the truth about being bullied by her classmates. Mr. Lim starts filming Soo-ji and asks her to show him her wounds. Soo-ji states that she does not have any wounds on her. Meanwhile, the girls from class 5 discuss how Soo-ji was doomed because she trusted a lunatic like Mr. Lim. They seem to something about him. Mr. Lim forces Soo-ji to undress as he films her and slaps her across the face, to show bruises of the bullying since the bullies don't leave visible marks. Ya-eun shows up to the break room just in time and Soo-ji pushes Mr. Lim away to open the door for her. Ya-eun sees a kettle with boiling water and puts Mr. Lim's phone in it, trying to destroy any video he has already filmed with Soo-ji's confession. And with that we confirm that Ya-eun does know how to take action. Ya-eun takes Soo-ji to the rooftop and shows her a video of Woo-ri being filmed by Mr. Lim. She tells Soo-ji that Woo-ri was the resident victim in Year 1 Class 5. She ended up confiding in Mr. Lim, who filmed her stripping naked with the implication of showing him her wounds. Ya-eun reveals that based on the video, Mr. Lim extorted money from the bullies' families as well as threatened Woo-ri to the point of leaving the school before the end of Year 1. The one teacher who seemed trustworthy, other than the female teacher who talked about bullying in the teachers' meeting. Ya-eun tells Soo-ji that she is dropping out, but Soo-ji asks her to participate in the game that's going to take place in a few days so that they can beat the system together. Ya-eun refuses to, but Soo-ji asks her to reconsider her decision. On the last Thursday of the month, Soo-ji goes to class as usual and runs into Mr. Lim. He tries to talk to her, but Soo-ji opens the classroom door, cutting him off. Inside, she is disappointed to see that Ya-eun is absent yet again. At lunch, there is tension between Ji-ae and Sung-yi because the latter was bullied by Da-yeon and her friend did nothing to stop it. This scene highlights Soo-ji's continued resilience and determination to ignore Mr. Lim's attempts to manipulate her. However, her disappointment at Ya-eun's absence suggests that she is still holding on to hope that Ya-eun will join her in taking down the game. Meanwhile, the tension between Ji-ae and Sung-yi shows that the bullying and harassment are having a ripple effect, damaging relationships and creating divisions within the class. The rest of the day goes by and the girls from class 5 gear up for the upcoming game. In the final moments before the game starts, Ya-eun shows up in class and agrees to participate. The episode ends with Soo-ji as well as the rest of the class being shocked by the results of the game. This sudden twist throws everything off balance, as Ya-eun's last-minute decision to participate in the game catches Soo-ji and the rest of the class off guard. The episode ends on a cliffhanger, leaving viewers wondering what the consequences of Ya Yoon's decision will be and what the results of the game will mean for Suji and the rest of the class. The tension is palpable, and the stakes are higher than ever as the game's outcome threatens to upend the entire social hierarchy of the class. In the second episode of the Pyramid Game, the stakes are raised, and the characters' motivations are revealed. Ha-rin's true nature is exposed, showing her to be a cruel and sadistic bully who enjoys the suffering of others. Her family's influence and her own popularity have made her feel invincible, and she will stop at nothing to maintain her power. Ha-rin is not just a bully, she is actually evil. Her speech about how the creator enjoys watching the suffering was chilling. Suji, on the other hand, is determined to uncover the truth behind the game and take down Ha-rin. She faces numerous challenges, from being bullied by Da Yian and her friends to being manipulated by Mr. Lim. Despite these obstacles, she remains resilient and resourceful, using her wit to outsmart her tormentors. Ya Yoon's past and her connection to Ha-rin are slowly revealed, adding depth to her character. Her reluctance to participate in the game and her loyalty to Suji are highlighted, showing her vulnerability and empathy. The episode ends with a cliffhanger, as Ya-eun agrees to participate in the game, and Suji is left reeling from the consequences of Mr. Lim's betrayal. The stage is set for a thrilling third episode, as the game intensifies, and alliances are tested. The game has only just begun, but the stakes are already higher than ever. Alliances are tested, and loyalty is proven. But in a game where the strong prey on the weak, can Suji and Ya-eun trust each other enough to take down the true enemy? The Pyramid Game continues, with betrayal lurking around every corner. Don't miss the next episode, as the battle for survival reaches new heights.